Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. For today's video I've got an exciting replay against none other than Apooche in which I make use of RHINOs. Now in what way and at what round I get them, you'll have to see, but at least it gives you a little bit of an idea of what is to come. In this game we have Apooche going for Typhoon spec rather quickly, and I'm a little bit torn here, so you see me taking my time because one of my favorite specialists is offered, but I don't see any steel balls, and I was a little bit scared of it showing up. I know Apooche is very capable of picking and playing that, so I go for the safer option here with Sledgehammer Fang. Aerial Specialist, 4,700 hit points, just all around solid. Happens that my opponent doesn't have steel balls. He ends up going Sledgehammer as well. Has the arc lights, so should be favored here. I could play this aggressively and go for something like a Sledge Boat, but Sledge Boat is not as common anymore, especially with Typhoon being so prevalent, and my opponent is a Typhoon spec, so I was kind of expecting him to go aggressive here, as that unit does benefit more from being on the line than from playing a long-range game. We'll see double crawler purchase here from my opponent. Now, I will need some sort of DPS because my sledgehammers are not going to be able to deal with the enemy sledgehammers and arc lights. So I have two options really. One is Marksman, the other is Phoenix. I decided to go Marksman here. I am aerial spec, so one Phoenix would have been an option as well. I think it's kind of the same, but I would have been able to cheese the first round with Phoenix, so I think Phoenix here would have just made a little bit more sense. I would have had to put it in the middle, that way it could have traveled either way, no matter where my opponent would be. But yeah, small mistake there at the start, I do think, on my behalf. And yeah, we'll have to see how this first round plays out. Again, though, my opponent already starts with really good shaft clear, and I don't. Sledgehammers are fine-ish, but they're more a bit of a do-it-all unit, like jack-of-all-trades, but not great at everything, or not great at anything. And so you'll often have to buy a dedicated shaft clear unit alongside them. And so yeah, here you see also like this split is not great for me. I have a lot of slow units that are going for tower. So they're just not involved in the fight whatsoever, and the fight will already be over by the time that they arrive. So yeah, crawlers there, just overwhelming me. Sledgehammer not able to deal with it all. We do manage to get an okay tower debuff and get a little bit of damage in, but yeah, most of my opponent's board is still alive. And so yeah, first round here is going to go over to Apooche. At least, though, I know where my opponent is playing, and now I can start mounting my defense. Round 2, not the most interesting cards, apart from maybe Elite Phoenix. This is a really good card, but it's also very expensive, much like Elite Mustang, and when it shows up on round 2, you're not going to be able to buy this realistically until like round 3 or 4. I am aerial spec, so it is slightly easier for me to get my hands on this and just unlock it for free. And so yeah, I do take my time here, but I will end up picking it, thinking, you know, as aerial spec, why not? It's good DPS as well. I like playing Phoenixes, so already having them leveled should allow me to deal with most things. Also thinking about the Typhoons, level 3 Phoenix should have a good matchup into that. And yeah, I pick it up. Now for my opponent, I mean, you could maybe think of like Fortified Hacker, but that's about it, I would say. Subsidized Stormcaller actually could have been an option as well. So there's a couple cards here you could pick, because I do have the front fangs, so you have some good targets to lock on. My army is pretty slow, so could play a more of a like slow fake push with Stormcallers. Ends up going for Elite Phoenix as well, so we're gonna probably end up in a bit of a mirror here, you have to imagine. Now round 2, I go for another sledge here to 1, add just a little bit more chaff clear, make sure that the left side will be fine, and also just stop my opponent in his tracks. Sledgehammers will be good down the line as well when Typhoons come out. And I decided to purchase a Wasp because I'm aerial spec, so it doesn't cost me anything to unlock them, and I am able to buy this as well. Throw it on the flank. I throw it on the left flank, by the way, because yeah, I was expecting him to level that tower, which does happen. And here the wasp will be going for tower and allow me to get a debuff, which is actually really nice for me because you can see that again here we're struggling with the crawlers. Like already I almost lost an entire pack of sledgehammers and there's still an additional crawler pack arriving. And actually we're still getting overwhelmed here. But I just about managed to buy enough time to be able to get the second debuff. Even though that's a level tower, it's still 7 seconds of debuff. And so by the time that the crawlers finish off my tower, most of Apooche's units here are dead, and the wasps have done a fantastic job this turn. So much damage. And it really shows the power of like this jump drive wasp thing. That's I've been playing up against a lot. I've lost a bunch of games to it. It's a really, really strong unit combo. Now round 3, shield airdrop here, not too bad. Advanced power system could be a thing maybe for Apooche if he wants to move in. I could take advanced missile device as well, expecting the typhoons. It's not bad at all. You can break the shields and then a second delayed missile can kill the typhoon. But yeah, here I just go for the value play, pick up that shield. I thought it would be good because my opponent's going to have Typhoon, Sledge, and Arc, and none of that is very high DPS, so he might struggle to break this 50,000 hit point shield. And Apooche does end up going for Advanced Power System. Now here you'll see me retrieve the Wasps, give them a level thanks to the Jump Drive, and aim them onto that right tower. Because level 2 Wasps will be able to kill this pretty quickly. And with the jump drive, they're super fast, right? 21 meters a second, so they'll arrive at the tower pretty fast as well. And I didn't expect my opponent to do anything here, right? He already leveled the tower, and it's round 3, so it's unlikely he will deploy much of anything on the right side. And he also has to answer that flank. So, yeah, you see him get the Typhoon. He got one from his specialist, and another one here, kind of in the middle of the battlefield to cover the flank. As a crawler as well, I buy a Phoenix. So I already have a level 3 Phoenix on the board. And it manages to get rid of one of the Typhoons there. Again, my shaft clear here, very suboptimal, and I am aware of it. But I thought, you know, with the debuffs, I might be able to get away with it. And so far, it seems to be the case. Sledgehammers are struggling, but the Wasps are doing a fantastic job of getting those 2 towers yet again. And then we also have the shield here to protect us. Phoenixes are kind of stuck, but even though a Typhoon is shooting them, the debuff is preventing it from killing them. And so they will turn in time. And that is another great round here. Sadly, I just about lose my shield. I was hoping I could hold on to it. It would have been insane value. But yeah, the skills tip slightly into Apooche's favor there. But I can't really complain, right? I got good rounds there. And honestly, with my shaft clear being as bad as it is, I'm pretty happy winning the last 2 rounds. Now here we get free units on round 4. Last possible round for the first rotation. Apooche just goes for the Farseer. Solid choice. It's good against both the Phantoms and the Wraith. Stormcaller might have been another option. And for me, I mean, I'm into a push, so it's not going to be Storms. Phantom Ray again loses to Farseer. Farseer is fine, but it's not really what I need. I feel like I have single target DPS with the Phoenixes I can buy. I just need shaft clear, really. So here, I'm going to go for Wraith. And I'm just going to take it because I want to sell. Like, I don't want to play the Wraith because I know that he picked Phoenixes as well. I know that Farseer was available, so that's just going to be a bad time. So yeah, we're just going to use it for now to try and shaft clear a little bit. Get rid of these crawlers, and then we're going to sell it and buy something better with it, like a Vulcan. Luckily, I do have the money this time around, so you'll see me use the Vulcan now. I tried to go for another flank play here, but actually Apooche is now returning the favor, adding a Farseer onto my flank, and that is completely undefended. And adding a very late Farseer there as well. I did put some fangs in front of this Wasp, but I think it should be able to deal with all of this. So sadly, that's not going to be working. I do use the oil I want to try and go for Incendiary Bomb here, but it's a little bit too expensive, I think, because I did want to get all my deployments down as well. I get flanked on the other side by crawlers, which is locking up my phoenixes, and because of the debuff, they're now also killing my fangs, so this is really rough. And yeah, Farseer deals with that flank. Other Farseer gets to the tower, and then somehow the Typhoons, taking advantage of all that is happening, get my other debuff as well. And so I end up losing a round that I really should not have, or at least I was not planning on losing, because I was going for another cheese. I added the oil, so yeah, losing that round when I used such a powerful spell, not great. I wasn't too happy with that. But a fantastic play by Apooche to regain some tempo, and now we're basically equal, right? Both of us sitting at around 3,200 hit points. Both of us here deciding to go for the RHINO Assault spell. And yeah, I try and be a little bit cheeky here, because, well, I think, you know, I can just use that RHINO over there and make sure that it blocks the shots from the Farseer. The Wasp should have plenty of damage to be able to kill it, and then we can move into tower and get the 2 debuffs yet again. So that's the play I'm going for. Opponent goes for a RHINO drop there in the middle of my backline. I add some crawlers onto this flank. Apooche goes for a very heavy flank there. 2 Typhoons added. Go for 2 crawlers and 1 Phoenix here on the right to deal with that Farseer. You're gonna see me put a missile here because I was expecting some crawlers. What I probably should have done though was just put it on the line, because this travel time can mess me up. And I think it's even slightly offset, so it might have even like not killed all the crawlers even if he did put them there. Lucky for me, he doesn't put any. Even though I do lose my missile, the Phoenix's dispatch of both the Farseer and the RHINO that dropped. And looks like my play was successful, so we will end up getting that tower, thankfully, because we were starting to lose. My Vulcan, by the way, did end up getting Incendiary Bomb there, manages to get another salvo down just to be able to ensure that there will be no crawlers messing up all of my targeting. I get another fantastic debuff timer there, preventing the Typhoon from getting my tower. And yeah, these rounds are on a knife's edge, but the tower debuffs are just going my way, and that means that I am able to deal quite a bit of damage here, sending Apooche down to 2,100. Now, round number 6, and I need to find an answer, right? At this point, I've probably run out of all possible cheeses. I think that Apooche will probably be defending the towers adequately from now. So now I need to find a way to deal with these Typhoon flanks, because they're very annoying. So here, I decided to go for super heavy armor, and I think, you know what? Because he's so committed to the flanks, it's not going to be very easy for him to sell out of everything. And a unit that will absolutely win against this type of play is going to be a RHINO, specifically an armored RHINO. So I decided to elite recruit 2 RHINOs here, give one of them that super heavy armor, and just make sure that they run into that Typhoon, preventing them from dealing any damage, and also making sure that they will get killed. Apooche goes for an even heavier flank, adding a crawler there as well. So yeah, he's really committed, and this won't be easy for him to sell out of, right? The best case scenario for him will be to, yeah, get something like a redeployment, maybe, deployment module. That way he could sell out and like move one thing, but I should be able to get ahead here. My opponent does end up adding crawlers onto the right side, but I added some blue crawlers in front of that, since I did have the elite recruitment, and that means that this Farseer will be neutralized. I also do sell out of my Wasps, because I thought, well, they served their purpose. They got like 3 debuffs on 3 rounds, so time to sell out of them. Phoenixes here are actually going to do a great job yet again, getting rid of the other Typhoon and then moving into the tower. There was another weakness here, by the way. I could have actually put some Phoenixes on the line to run into the tower as it was undefended, and I did have the Fangs back there to distract the Farseer for a bit. But obviously, like, I wasn't sure if that was going to be covered or not. I kind of expected some Fangs in front of the tower or something along those lines, so I wasn't willing to risk it. And yeah, you could see that the RHINOs there did an absolutely fantastic job, and with the debuffs, again, we're able to do some good damage. And we're getting Apooche now within kill range as he's sitting below 1200. Round 7, we get the second rotation of free units. Scorpions show up. I instantly pick them up and go double shot, as it is probably the best unit against Typhoon. It does have its weaknesses against Typhoon boats, but in this type of scenario where my opponent is leaning heavily into Typhoon carry, I can't really say no to these triple deployments. And so you'll see me position them in such a way that they do hit these Typhoons. I don't want to give them range here because they can already hit the shields here anyway, and I'm not necessarily like planning to have this game go much longer. If possible, I'd like to just stop the game right here. And so what you'll see me do now is go for that opening on the right side. I did talk about it, right? This fire seer is locked up, and these Phoenixes should be able to get within tower range. So I add a crawler in front to protect them, a missile to get rid of a potential chaff unit that would be there. And yeah, we just try and play for the win here. You'll see me add a bunch of missiles as well, because I was kind of expecting that he might go for my right tower. It is a little vulnerable, and he does end up going for that. Phoenixes are given range, by the way. That way they stay a little bit safer. I do mobile beacon this into the Typhoon because I don't want it to get locked up with these crawlers. And yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. Scorpion gets moved last second, and so it gets absolutely one-shot. And even though these Phoenixes are in a bit of a precarious position, they're not doing that bad of a job, breaking some shields. And then the two late Phoenixes that were already there are able to clean up that assault. So really big play there from Apooche, but I think that's being defended with less resources, thankfully. Left side also winning now, thanks to that. The RHINO's doing a great job stalling yet again. And if I manage to keep some Scorpions alive, that's 300 damage a pop, and that is simply going to be all she wrote. This game could have really gone either way. As you guys saw in the early game, I really didn't have the best chaff clear whatsoever, and I've kind of been getting away with murder here, having just one Vulcan with Incendiary, trying to deal with all of this chaff. But it shows you the power of making proactive plays, and even though it looks like you're defending, right, you can try and have a go at your opponent's towers, use these different tactics to, yeah, get by with a board that might not yet be fully able to really withstand the attack that is facing you. Also, it shows you how RHINO can be used. It's a very niche unit, and generally speaking, you won't be buying this and having a lot of success. It does have quite a lot of hard counters, and it's mostly being used in high MMR through the free unit drops. Sometimes you'll get a high level one, and that'll allow you to kind of push through, but that's about it. But yeah, when your opponent really overcommits to a flank, especially with things like the Typhoons, then Armor RHINO can have a lot of value, and oftentimes will be the most efficient way to dispatch of these type of flanks. So it was a really, well, cool game to be able to use that. We managed to out-tempo. I get a good free unit drop on round 7, and we managed to close things out before it gets really scary. I think if this game went on for a little bit longer, Apooche might have been able to stabilize. And actually, I saw him on his stream try out a couple different things. And I think if he bought like more Phoenixes on like round 5, that RHINO drop round, and he added crawlers here, then my missile wouldn't have hit perfectly. The RHINO would have gotten in, and he would have just crushed me on that round. So it shows you how these games can be very volatile, and just one tiny decision can flip things completely. But yeah, I was happy that it went my way. I was able to close things out in time, and sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. If you like this game, please leave a thumbs up. If you want to stay up to date with all my latest videos, please do subscribe. If you want to see me play live, go check me out on Twitch. Let me know down below what you think of this game and whether or not you like RHINO. Do you play it? Do you not play it? Do you like it as a defensive unit? Put it down there. And with that being said, I'm going to say have a lovely rest of your day. Take care, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.